The moment I finished fixing my girlfriend's mother's car, I thought my part was over. I wiped the grease from my hands, closed the hood, and turned toward my car, ready to leave. Then she stood in the doorway, smiled in a way I couldn't understand, and quietly said, "That's not all." Before I could ask what she meant, she stepped aside and invited me inside. I had no idea that those few words would lead to a night that changed the way I saw family, love, and the meaning of being there for someone. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and helping people without expecting anything in return, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope, and subscribe to Kindness Spac. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories like this to people who need them. My name is Daniel, and I had been dating Emily for almost 2 years. Emily was the kind of person who noticed when someone was having a bad day, even when they tried to hide it. She was gentle, hardworking, and incredibly close to her mother, Linda. Linda had raised Emily alone after Emily's father left when she was young. Because of that, Emily worried about her mother constantly. Linda lived in a small, quiet house at the edge of town. It wasn't fancy, but everything about it felt warm and lived in. There were family photographs along the hallway, old books stacked beside the sofa, and little reminders of Emily's childhood everywhere. Linda always welcomed me kindly, but I could tell she was careful around me. She wanted to make sure the man dating her daughter was someone who could be trusted. One rainy afternoon, Emily called me in a panic. Her mother's car had stopped working, and Linda needed it the next morning for an important appointment. Emily was stuck at work and couldn't get there. Without thinking twice, I grabbed my tools and drove over. When I arrived, Linda was standing beside the car in the driveway, looking worried. The hood was open, and rainwater had already covered the windshield. I told her I would take a look. She tried to apologize for calling me, but I told her it was nothing and began checking the engine. The problem turned out to be smaller than we expected. A damaged connection had prevented the car from starting properly. I spent nearly an hour cleaning the connection, replacing a worn part, and testing everything several times. My hands became covered in grease and my jacket got soaked, but eventually the engine came alive. Linda looked genuinely relieved. She thanked me repeatedly, but I simply told her that I was glad I could help. I packed my tools and started walking toward my car. That was when she stopped me. She stood beneath the porch light, watching me with an expression I couldn't read. Then she smiled and said, "That's not all." I turned around, confused. She opened the front door wider and told me to come inside. For a moment, I wondered whether something had happened to Emily. I followed Linda into the house and immediately noticed a small dining table covered with food. There was soup, fresh bread, rice, and a homemade dessert. I told her she didn't need to do all that just because I fixed the car. She shook her head and explained that the dinner wasn't really about the car. She told me that she had been watching how I treated Emily for a long time. She had seen me help her daughter when things were difficult, listen when Emily was stressed, and never make her feel guilty for needing support. Linda admitted that she had been afraid to trust another man around her daughter because of what happened with Emily's father. Then she said something that completely changed the atmosphere. She told me that she had recently discovered she was facing a serious financial problem. The repair bill for the car was only one of many things worrying her. She had been trying to hide everything from Emily because she didn't want her daughter to sacrifice her own future. I sat quietly as Linda explained that she had been considering selling the house. It was the only valuable thing she had left, and she believed losing it might be the only way to escape her debts. I looked around the room at the photographs and realized this wasn't simply a house. It was the place where Emily had grown up. It held years of memories. I asked Linda why she had told me all of this. She said she didn't know what else to do. She wasn't asking me for money. She wasn't expecting me to solve her problems. She simply needed someone she trusted enough to listen. That night I stayed for dinner. We talked for hours. I told her about my own struggles, the years when I barely had enough money to pay my bills, and how ashamed I sometimes felt when I couldn't give people the things they expected from me. Linda reminded me that having little didn't make someone worthless. The next morning, I returned with a plan. Instead of giving Linda money I didn't have, I helped her organize her expenses, contact the people she owed,